and welcome to Tucson, Arizona.
Woo! Woo!
Today we are going to bring you on a little science tour that we found. It's on Mount Lemmon, which is in Tucson, and I think it's the highest peak in the area. And it has a bunch of different microclimates, which is really cool when you're starting off in the desert and then you end up somewhere that's like cold enough that it could snow and you need a jacket.
Yeah, right. We're here at 72, 73 degrees right now, and we're expecting to need jackets by the time we get to the top. So let's take you there.
All right.
Alright, so I'm going to try to fill in the gaps right here for the little science-y part of the tour. Now obviously it is an hour long and we are trying to wrap it up in about 10 minutes, so I'll give you the highlights as we go. This mountain starts at 2,750 feet elevation and it's going to get up into the 8,000s, and it's named after a woman named Sarah Lemmon. She and her husband in 1880 actually were two of the first people to make to the top of Mount Lemmon, and they were just going through and identifying different plant species, different rocks, and kind of just being scientists in this area. So they made it to the top for the first time with the assistance of a guide, and she was the first woman ever. So they named it after her, and it's called Mount Lemmon with 2 M's instead of 1 M because that was her name. So we have a lot of saguaro cactuses up here at this bottom vista point, which is the Baba Doag Vista Point, and you can see the city of Tucson right here in this shot.
Hi guys, we are at the first Vista Point on this science tour through Mount Lemmon. This is the Baba Doag Vista Point, and we thought we'd just take a sec to introduce ourselves for anybody who's new to our channel. So I'm Katie.
And I'm Adam. And we've been traveling for about the last 6 months, starting up in, we could say starting in Massachusetts just to make it seem longer, but we've been aimlessly meandering all around the eastern part of the United States on our way down to the southwest, which we are here now.
Yep, so we're kind of wintering in Arizona. This is our self-converted van that we've created, and we make a bunch of travel videos, we do some rock climbing videos, and if you guys like what you see, make sure to subscribe to our channel. So without further ado, let's continue the tour.
So Mount Lemmon is part of a mountain chain called the Sky Islands, and they're called that because they look like little green islands popping out of the desert. They travel all the way down into Mexico and they start in the Sonoran Desert. This is also one of the only places in the entire world that grows saguaro cactuses in such close density and up to about 60 feet. Which is huge for a saguaro cactus if you've ever seen them. They can live up to 200 years and their first arm doesn't form for their first 50 years. This area has been inhabited by people for over 2,000 years and it only gets about 12 inches of rain annually. So let's see what this next vista point looks like. We've got some amazing views in store.
Alright, so we're at the second vista now, and this is my favorite view, I think, of most of them. And one of the cool things about this view is that it changes throughout the day. That when the sun is different, all the lines are different. But you also will notice, if you look around, not a cactus in sight. And that's because we are now about 5,000 feet up and continuing to climb. Onward! Here we go!
So the vista we just left is called Thimble Point Vista, and it's at 5,230 feet in elevation, so the temperature has already dropped about 10-15 degrees right now since we've left the bottom. And that's because about every 1,000 feet you ascend up, the temperature drops about 5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is kind of a cool rule of thumb because it holds true pretty much all around the world. At this point you can start to see the pine trees showing up all around us, and that's because we've entered into the third of the life zones that we started with. We were in desert before, we passed through grasslands, and now we're into the woodland zone. So you can see everything is completely changed from what we started with, and that's because we're getting up to about 6,500 feet here. So our next stop is going to be the windy Point Vista, and it's the most popular stop on the tour, and it's also about the halfway mark for our hour-long adventure here. Let's see what the view is like.
All right, so we have made it to windy Point Vista. There's actually a lot of people out here. It's an amazing view. We're not that far outside of Tucson, and it's a beautiful day. The temperatures dropped a little from the basin in Tucson where we started, and yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. There's also these really cool rock formations. We'll show you a few. They call them hoodoos. So stay tuned for that footage.
How about that hoodoo, huh? So we're on our way now to the top, and we're continuing to ascend. I think we were at 6,700 feet. We're moving up, I think, to about 7,000 feet, and that's when we're going to start to see the forest begin. So we're leaving the woodland area, and you can see the trees are starting to get a little bit taller. The reason for that is because the soil is a little bit thicker up on higher parts of the mountain because more moisture gets retained in it. So this part of the drive is a little bit longer, and that's because after the windy Point Vista, we end up going into more of the northern side of the mountain, and we're in the range now. So we're kind of in the island part of the Sky Islands as we ascend a little higher up. So we're well over 7,000 feet now, and you can see that we're pretty much exclusively tall pine trees all around. We're going to be experiencing snow here in just a second, so keep your eyes open. The next vista point we're reaching is going to be the Aspen Vista Point, and we have some amazing views from up there. And this is a good time of day to do it because if it gets too late, you're not going to have much sun over there.
Okay guys, we've made it into the forest.
As you can see, we've got a lot of tall trees around us now, and we've got our jackets on because the temperature has dropped a full 20 degrees. Which actually holds true to a little rule of thumb that we learned on the science tour, that's every 1,000 feet is going to be minus 5 degrees. So since we started at 70, we went up 4,000 feet, and then it's dropped about 20 degrees. So yeah, holds true. Anyway, we're going to go up a little further, see if we can catch some snow. We've got some amazing views that are about to fly off in front of you in just a moment.
Yep.
And this tour is getting close to the end.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we have in store.
We got to make it to the top. Let's go.
So this vista point was at 7,860 feet, and if you haven't seen snow already on the sides of the road, you're going to start to see a little bit more of that as we get up to our final stop, which is going to be at Ski Valley Vista Point in a small town called Summerhaven, and that's going to be at about 8,360 feet. And starting at the bottom, we were at 2,750, so we have ascended some 5,000 plus feet just in this little 1 hour drive.
So we made it to the top, or at least as far as we can go. There's a gate at the top that's only open, well, it's closed during the winter. So we're as far as we can get by vehicle. We could keep hiking. You can see there's some snow back here. We did make it to snow. Woohoo!
We're not a little bit dramatic or anything, are we?
No, it's like 45 degrees up here, which is, it's crazy that you can drive an hour and get from 73 to 45 just because of altitude. But wow, what a fun trip.
I know.
We're probably going to close out our little tour today right here. Might get a sunset on the way back down. Maybe, we don't know. And,
but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was really fun for us to film it. We really loved the science tour. And if you like this, give it a like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions. And
we highly recommend you go on this little drive yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're ever in Tucson.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys next time.
Bye.